Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Talking Stick. I'm Jess, and just like every day, I'm here to hang and chat with you about something I think is maybe a little interesting or applicable to us. Today's episode will be quite short. I know everybody's still a little hungover from yesterday's celebrations as far as eating and everything, and if you're lucky enough to have today off, you're probably just really having a pajama day. Unless you're out there doing what so many people get up way too early today to do, which is engage the Black Friday deals. So I thought it would be a little bit fun to spend a few minutes just sort of talking, because I didn't know. I was like, where the heck did Black Friday come from? Why are we doing this? When did this start? Like, I just had a question about that. And got me another turtleneck. It's cold. The other day, I had a short sleeve shirt on that was like a sweater for the narcissism one, and it was like I was so cold the whole time. So I'm like, forget about it. I'm just gonna dress warmly this week and go from there. So anyhow, turtleneck week, for Thanksgiving. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So we'll just do a quick, I'm not going to go too crazy about this, but I just thought, what's it all about? Why do we do this? Why does this happen? Um, Now, initially, the Black Friday term really didn't have anything to do with shopping, but, a national financial crisis, right? Specifically, the crash of the U.S. gold market on September 24th, 1869. Two notoriously ruthless Wall Street financiers, Jay Gould and Jim Fisk, worked together to buy up as much as they could of the nation's gold, hoping to drive the price sky high and sell it for astonishing profits. So, yeah. Uh, on that Friday in September, the conspiracy finally unraveled, sending the stock market into free fall and bankrupting everyone from Wall Street barons to farmers. Doesn't seem like something to celebrate, honestly. Um, but the most commonly repeated story behind the Thanksgiving shopping related Black Friday tradition links to its retailers. As the story goes, after an entire year of operating at a loss in the red, stores would supposedly earn a profit and go into the black on the day after Thanksgiving because it suddenly ignites the holiday shopping um, for Christmas, and holiday shoppers would blow so much money on discounted merchandise. Um, so really, like, they might have like one discounted thing for 10 things that are slightly increased, right? So you're there and you're all in the hubbub of cheap, 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 that you're not really thinking about, the extra things that you're picking up that are not part of the sale, or say they are, but then what do they normally cost? Do you really know? I mean, I'm somebody who pays great attention to that, at large, but it's definitely not like something a lot of people do. So just remember that when you're out there shopping. If you are right now, I guess you're not watching this and it's not airing until that day. So next year or in any given situation, remember that. Even like Walmart, I know that a lot of stores do this, wherein all of the main things like milk, eggs, and cereal and all that stuff is priced slightly lower, but then there are other things that are perhaps, priced slightly higher, and so this is like actually a technique that these stores will use to, keep you thinking that they're really low cost, and they're not all the time. And so remember that, it's like the main stuff that you normally buy that the price of will be cheaper in a lot of ways, but then, or the sale stuff, but then other things will be hiked a little bit to make up for it, right? And that's across the board. I think that's just something stores at large do. So um, Though it's true that retail companies used record losses in red and profits in black when doing their accounting, uh, and that this version of Black Friday's origin has been officially sanctioned, it is an actually inaccurate story. Another myth has surfaced. Ooh, this one really sort of upsets me, okay? So, another myth has surfaced that gives a particularly ugly twist to the tradition, claiming that back in the 1800s, Southern plantation owners could buy enslaved workers at a discount on the day after Thanksgiving, after the harvest. Though this version of Black Friday's roots has understandably led some to call for a boycott of the retail holiday, it really hasn't ever been proven or as factual. So it makes sense to me, though. I mean, I don't know, if you put it together, it really seems to make sense. So, yeah. The real history behind Black Friday, however, is not as sunny as retailers might have you believe. Back in the 50s, police in the city of Philadelphia used the term to describe the chaos that ensued on the day after Thanksgiving when hordes of suburban shoppers and tourists flooded into the city in advance of the big Army-Navy football game held on Saturday every year. Not only were the Philly cops not able to take the day off, but they had to work extra long shifts dealing with the additional crowds and traffic. Shoplifters also took advantage of the bedlam in stores and made off with merchandise, adding to the law enforcement headache. By 1961, Black Friday had caught on in Philadelphia to the extent that the city's merchants and boosters tried unsuccessfully to change it to Big Friday in order to remove the negative connotation. The term didn't spread to the rest of the country until much later, however, and as recently as 1985, it wasn't in common use nationwide. Sometime in the late 80s, however, retailers found a way to reinvent Black Friday and turn it into something that reflected more positively rather than negatively on them and their customers. The result was the red to black concept of the holiday mentioned earlier, and the notion that the day after Thanksgiving marked the occasion when American stores finally turned a profit. Okay, so I mean, if that's the only day that you're actually making a profit, how the heck are you still in business, really? So I don't know about all of it, you know what I mean? So the Black Friday story stuck, and pretty soon the term's darker roots in Philadelphia were largely forgotten. Since then, the one day sales bonanza has morphed into a 4-day event with the onset of the internet and has spawned other retail holidays such as Small Business Saturday and Sunday, which I actually think is kind of cool for us to really look at, supporting small businesses, as that is the root truly of American culture, in my opinion, is that ability for us to go out there and live the dream and be our own bosses and start our own companies. People come from all over the world to be a part of that. So I really like, the Small Business Saturday and Sunday, and then there's the Cyber Monday from, the internet. So stores started opening earlier and earlier on Friday, and now the most dedicated shoppers can head right out after Thanksgiving on the night before. A lot of the sales will begin at 4 o'clock on Thanksgiving for people who are heading home. They can just stop in and start shopping. Most retailers have little concern today with the origin of the name, but have taken full advantage of its global recognition as a day to make a significant portion of their yearly sales with one day only and doorbuster promotions. Online sales alone during Black Friday in 2019 reached a record $7.2 billion. Uh, and so I'm wondering how that looks now, because we're having sort of an economic issues this year after COVID with production and everything else. So, I just sort of wonder how that looks this year, how that'll look. But it's a great day for retailers, but it really does represent the dark side of American consumerism, which really didn't start until, after the Great Depression and World War II. And people started getting credit, credit became itself. And people started buying more so for luxury than necessity. And then the keeping up with the Joneses concept really started, But Over the years, frenzied crowds competing for discounted merchandise have resulted in violence and injuries, including 12 deaths. I mean, really? Dying over Black Friday? Horrible. Horrible. I remember my grandma actually in the Cabbage Patch doll. It was like 1984, and I really wanted a Cabbage Patch doll, and she was like 4'10", and in the store, literally like fighting with other women for the very last blonde hair, blue eyed. Because when I was young, I had blue eyes and blonde hair, and even though now I have brown hair and green eyes, when I was a little girl, I had blonde hair and blue eyes. So she wanted that one, and she was, she got it, and I remember her being so stoked that she won. But anyway, so if you decide to participate in this, year or any year's biggest shopping day of the year on Black Friday, try to be compassionate. Try not to hurt others. Um, and I mean, really, the Cyber Monday thing is a good alternative to getting out there and, all the traffic and people trying to get out to all these stores to get all these deals or whatever. You know what I mean? It does become somewhat unsafe. Um, and this year budgets might be tight, so give yourself a break. Um, and remember that it's the thought that counts, whether you get the discounted item or not. So, um, yeah, that's about the breadth of it. I think this is probably going to be the shortest one. Like I did consider like going in on like American consumerism, but I just thought, that might be something for another day. But yeah, we as Americans are very much, consumer oriented and thinking that we can buy our happiness through items. And we have an issue now with like hoarders. I know my mom fell into that, and she was like, when she became disabled, it was like everything made on TV was in her house. Those like as seen on TV. I mean, specials where it's like buy one get six free, order now get six free. Like what are you going to do with seven of anything really? um, but yeah, so I think it's really a time to really reflect on American consumerism and whether that's something that is even necessary. Like you know, I think for me, I'm going to start, you know what? I'm going to start a new tradition this year. Instead of Black Friday shopping or shopping at all, I think I'm going to just get together some bags to donate to the thrift store, right? Because it's the end of the year, and every year you stack stuff you don't need and buy new things and end up with other things you don't need. So for me, I'm going to start a new tradition for the Friday after Thanksgiving this year, and I'm going to get together some donations for the thrift store. So maybe you can do the same thing. And just remember, it's not what you have, it's who you are. Okay? So, anyway, thanks again, you guys. I really appreciate you joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will be back next week with a slew of new topics to just chat it up with you guys. And so let's show, grow, and glow every day. It's all we can do as human beings. No one's perfect, but we can try to be better, right? We can try to learn. We can try to understand ourselves and be more authentic in our communities, right? And to ourselves. So let's do that together. Okay? I'll see you next week. Please like, please share, please subscribe if you like this. I'm also so very available to feedback. So if you have any comments, I'd love it. If you want to email me, it's the Talking Stick Collective at Gmail. I would love it. And I will be sharing a phone number that will most likely be kind of text. But if you are in any way just needing to talk to someone and really feeling, like I might be the one you want to talk to about your life or situation, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a doctor, but I am an open heart. And so I will be sharing next week the new number, the Talking Stick Collective phone number, so that we can connect even more. And I would love that. So, anyway, have a great weekend once again. Love to you all. I appreciate you more than I can express. And I will see you on the flip next week. It'll be the last week of the month. We're rolling into the last month of the year. It's amazing. This year's gone by so fast. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.